And now for more, it's a pleasure to welcome to studio Brigadier General in the Reserves, Hanan Gefen, former commander of the intelligence unit in the IDF, and our senior editor, Guy Azriel. Gentlemen, thank you both so much for being here. There's so much to discuss, but I need to start with news just in. Confirmation now around an El Al flight, that's the Israeli national carrier, from Phuket in Thailand to Tel Aviv overnight. Efforts to take over the communication network on that flight. Guy Azriel, what do we know?
Yes, it's a concerning development from what we understand. Hostile elements have attempted to seize control over the communication network of that El Al flight, and that was over an area that is controlled by the Houthi rebels, with the possibility of attempting to manipulate the crew, the pilots, into changing their trajectory and diverting the flight towards what could have been a hostile area, hostile environment. The crew did realize that something was wrong with the instructions that they were given, and they've ignored the instructions eventually and switch to other means of communication. However, this is an incredibly serious incident. Another name that is floated is Somaliland, also very close to where the plane was, with fears that someone from that entity was involved in the effort to take over that plane, with fear that there could have been perhaps also ground threats. If the plane moves to a hostile area, it could be facing threats from the ground, even possible kidnapping of the plane. That's why it was highly important that the crew understand very quickly the danger, the fact that they were given instructions by someone who's not authorized, who's against the trajectory of the original flight. Eventually, the flight did make it safely to Ben Gurion Airport, but a lot will be investigated in the coming days. Who was behind that action? What was their goal? Where did it come from? And I think Hanan would surely have a lot more to say about how was that able to be done technically to take over such a system, such a sensitive system like the communication of an airplane.
Brigadier General, certainly a very worrying development. Important to reiterate, the plane landed safely. No one is harmed in any way. Quick thinking there by the crew. Your thoughts on what unfolded?
Yeah, I believe it's this organizational entity. We don't know yet. It's some pirate kind of entity, and intervening into this kind of intervention in this kind of communication is not that complicated, because this is a communication on the way, and it changes, control towers and so on the way. So somebody who is not very knowledgeable can enter it, and I would guess, and it's really guess, it's some entity with a pirate kind of entity, and not really knowing what they are going to do or what they're achieving, just to causing disturbance and this kind of inquiet on the routes, international roads.
Certainly is a very worrying situation. One doesn't want to be worrying about all flights that are happening right now and taking the whole tension around this war to a whole new level, literally. But your thoughts about the steps that need to be in place to prevent something like this happening? We don't know too much of the detail. It is obviously a developing story, but nonetheless, steps need to be in place, systems need to be in place to make sure that all travel and all travelers are safe.
Yeah, it's not only Israeli concern. It should be an international one, because it's international route involving several this kind of control towers, supporting, giving services to other airplanes as well, not only Israeli, all the other airplanes. So it would be an international effort to make sure that the codes are given, right codes and right procedures will be in place to avoid this kind of piracy.
Very much like what we see with the naval problem in the Red Sea, with the Houthis blocking off the travel of boats in that area. A lot more than just Israel's problem, an incredible global problem that perhaps greater nations need to get involved with, as they did in the case of the Houthis.
As you say, there was a global coalition in response to what was happening at sea. Not sure how effective it has been. We might have to have something else. But again, we don't want to jump the gun. We just do want to reiterate that plane did land safely. Nobody was harmed at all.